Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to walk you through step by step how to install a short fence for trash enclosure. We're going to show you how to set posts in concrete and install the fence pickets step by step. It'll be fun. It's a great day. Let's get started. So we are here in the space. We have, as you can see, an existing side yard. We are being tasked with installing a fence enclosure, trash enclosure. Okay, and so you can see our existing structural post holding up our patio cover, and then we've got this kind of side yard here. Homeowner wants to bring the trash cans up, install them here, but he doesn't want to look at them anymore. You can see them right there. So yeah, so right now the kitchen's looking out at the trash cans. So general rule of thumb is want our posts to be not more than 5 feet apart, just because it gets weak. You know, if you span further than 5 feet, the fence has a tendency to kind of like wear out over time a little quicker. It's just flimsy. It's not right. So in this case here, we're going to start our fence, our short fence here, plus or minus, and we're going to end it right here. Okay, and the trash cans are going to come up, they're going to be set inside, and we're going to cover them. So I've got about, you can see I've got about 13.5 feet, plus or minus. All right. Okay, so our last post is going to be right here. So I'm going to lay out evenly. We're going to add 3 posts. This is going to be our first post. It's not moving. We're going to add one plus or minus here, another one here, and another one here, equally spaced. Okay, we're going to excavate the dirt, pull the dirt out, fill it with concrete, rapid set concrete, put our posts in, let the concrete cure, plumb them up, get them square and everything, and then we'll put our cords in and our fence pickets. It'll be quick and easy and fast. The next step is to lay out our posts and dig for our post bases. Okay? All right, so first things first, we kind of laid out where our posts are gonna go, okay? I evenly spaced them as best I could. It's not super critical, but evenly spaced. We're gonna put a post plus or minus right here. This represents a post or where we wanna dig our hole. From there, we'll evenly space out another one. This is gonna be our second post, okay? And then our third one, obviously, plus or minus there, okay? We're gonna rake the rock back. You can see Jordy started pulling this back. But we wanna get down to the earth, right? So there's a weed barrier there, so weeds don't come up and disrupt this beautiful little side yard section here. So we'll cut that out of the way. Basically, we just want to get down to the dirt, pull the rock back, hit that fabric. We'll cut the fabric out of the way, and then we'll start digging. As you can see, we're down to the dirt now. We have a tool that's going to help us kind of excavate the dirt a little quicker than hand digging. To help with the assistance of digging these holes, I've got a roto hammer, okay, with a spade bit. All right, so this, you could pick one of these up at your local home improvement store. It's a Makita drill roto hammer. But basically, what it's going to do is kind of act as a shovel to kind of speed up the process, an electric shovel. So what we want to do is we kind of marked where our post is going to go, okay? We've pulled the rock back, fabric back. Now I'm just going to kind of start working the earth down and out of the way, get it all cleaned up, and then we'll be ready to put our posts in. So a couple things you want to pay attention to while we're digging is, you know, this is a planter, okay? So there might be a sprinkler line running in here, okay? Just be real careful when we're digging. We're not just going fast, and we don't want to damage a sprinkler line and go back and have to, you know, repair it later. So just with caution, just kind of start digging and disrupting the earth in each section. If you come across something, we'll kind of stop and assess, and just like we do with, you know, framing and any other repairs or improvements, we just want to make sure we're identifying any underground stuff as we come across it. All right, so one of the next steps in the process is to treat and make sure that our posts that are going to be going in the ground and touching the concrete and the earth are protected to the elements, right? And over time, we don't have a problem with rot or anything like that moving forward. So as you can see here, we've got a pressure-treated post. This is rated and been treated to allow for earth connection. So we've marked up about 2 feet plus or minus. We've ran some painter's tape on it, Flex Seal. It's basically an additional insulating piece as far as like protection to the elements over time. This will all be, most of it will be underground. Okay, so we just want to add another layer of protection. You know, these posts don't rot out and cause a problem for the homeowner later on. So we got our posts ready to be sprayed now, and as you can see, this is just basically like a rubber sealant. And again, you pick it up at your local home improvement store, but it's super simple. You just kind of work your way through, just like you're spray painting anything, and it dries, and it adds another layer of protection for underground application, okay? All right, so we sprayed the post. You can see all 4 sides are good. I sprayed the ends. We're gonna let this dry. We did come across, ding, 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 something. As you can see, while we were excavating and starting our posts, we found something there, and that is a sprinkler line. It's probably feeding the planter behind us. And so we sourced most likely where the sprinkler is being fed from. The sprinkler valve controls are right on the other side of this fence. So it's most likely being run this way and feeding the planter behind us. Okay, so obviously this is not gonna work. We can't have this here in our way. Our posts need to be a little bit deeper, and they need to be placed exactly where the sprinkler line is. So we found it, we didn't damage it. We're gonna excavate around it, turn the sprinklers off, and strategically saw cut the sprinkler for now, cap it, and then be able to execute and finish our digging of the post. All right, guys, so kind of some good news. We were excavating to cap our sprinkler line, if you remember. We found out that this sprinkler line is old, okay? It came apart. You can see here there's nothing on the end of it. Ben zooms in there. There's nothing on the end of it. So that's kind of good news for us. So we're gonna source it back to there. We'll cut out the sections that we need in order to get our posts in. Crisis averted. We won't have to go reroute the sprinkler line later. So that's all in all, it's a good news. That's a win for Project Fence Enclosure. All right, so great progress. We have dug all of our holes, like I told you guys, plus or minus 12 inches, all right, which you can kind of see there. Depth grade, plus or minus 12 inches, plenty, all right? For a short 42-inch fence, it's gonna bury some trash cans. It's totally fine. It's not a structural element. So we've got our post dug. We're gonna clean up this area a little bit better. Next step in the process is to start mixing or start prepping for our concrete cement mix. What we've got and what we picked up at the store was, we picked up some 50-pound bags of Quikrete, okay? There's a couple different kinds of Quikrete I know you can purchase at the store. This is perfect for setting posts, as it says on there. This stuff sets up pretty quick, okay? So you have from when you start and it's mixed fully, you've got about, it says on the bag, you got about 20 to 40 minutes. Okay, so they call that fast setting, rapid set. Reason why we're using rapid set in this case is because we want to set our posts, get them perfectly plumb, and then move right into installing the fence, okay, and building the fence. So when we set the posts, you have a limited amount of time to make sure that they're perfectly plumb, okay, and square and lined up with each other. That's one of the downsides of using fast setting concrete, is once it sets up, it's done. So if you have a lot of hands on deck like we do in this case, we'll use the fast setting concrete to ensure that we don't lose it. Basically what we're gonna do is we're gonna open up a couple of these bags. We've got 2 bags per hole, which should be plenty. We're gonna mix it in a wheelbarrow with a shovel and some water. It's as simple as that. So you add water to the mix it together, and then it should be good. So as you can see here, I've got my 2 bags of mix, rapid set concrete mix in here, Quikrete. I'm just filling it up with a little bit of water, okay? I do not wanna overwater it, okay? That creates a big problem. All right, so I'm gonna add some water, I'm gonna mix it, maybe add a little bit more water, maybe mix it again, and we should be good. As you can see here, guys, this is too much water. So what I'm gonna do is, in this case, I'm gonna add another bag, okay? So this is a perfect example of adding too much water. So it's a rookie mistake. Rookie. You wanna grab another bag, Jordy?
Shame on you.
Got excited with the water there. Now when we fill up that first hole, we wanna make sure that, we don't put all the concrete in the bag. But you'll see how this will start to stiffen up a little. All right, guys, so I've got the consistency all done here. You can see now exactly what we want. So that's a 3-bag Quikrete, okay? So I'm gonna add one, since I've got the gravel here, it's not absolutely necessary, but I'm gonna shade this with a little bit of gravel. Not mandatory, but it's nice, for drainage, right? So if I have the gravel sitting here, I might as well use it. But benefit of that is it allows water, if any water gets around the post, which it will. Now we're going to install our post. Remember, we've got 20 to 40 minutes before this stuff's gonna go off. We're gonna set our first post, plus or minus right here. We wanna start right on the edge of where that bend is on the concrete, okay? And we wanna be about 3/4 of an inch back from the outside slab, okay? So plus or minus, Jordy's gonna get this post plumb, best he can. Remember, it's gonna move around and we're gonna massage it all we want. But I'm just gonna start adding concrete, all right? You can see where we put our tape and our Flex Seal, okay? All right, just kind of work it down. You just kind of work the concrete around the post. It's really that simple. Okay, we're staying right at the edge, and we're about 3/4 of an inch back, okay? Probably the last couple. Good. Jordy's got it close. Now I'm gonna take it and I'm just gonna kind of work it around. And you notice it'll kind of stand by itself. But we have 20 to 40 minutes, so we're gonna quickly now do the next 2 posts, and then we'll be able to fine tune these so that they're lined up, okay? First one's done, we're moving on to the second one. We've got our second post in. I'm gonna fill it with concrete, just like we did the other one, and a massive workout. That's one good thing about these fence jobs, guys, if you're doing it yourself. Okay, so now we've got two of the posts in. You remember we set those two. They're setting up hard pretty quick. We got to kind of, with some sense of urgency, make sure we get this one. We want it to be as close to center as possible. You can see here I'm 49.5 in between. And then on this side, I'm 50. This one's ready for concrete now. So now we've got, as you can see in the distance, we've got our 3 posts set. Okay, they're essentially kind of gonna line up with this post right here. They're evenly spaced. We already checked that to make sure. They're nice and plumb. Jordy's working on backfillings, taking some of the dirt that we pulled out and back, even with the existing grade there. He's just backfilling, and then he's gonna put the gravel back on top. Okay, the concrete's set, it's hard. So in this case, we're good. Next step in the process, guys, is to line up and run a string line through so that we can determine where and how we're gonna fasten our wood members to this existing post. All right, so to do that, I'm just going to take a straight edge. I'm going to mark it where it intercepts here and where it intercepts here up top. Put a piece of backing along here in line with the post so that when our fence pieces come through, we have something to nail our fence pieces to. See here, I picked a very straight 2x4. We're going to straight line, which we did all the way through, and we're going to mark where this intercepts the post. This is where we want to put our piece of back. On the bottom, pretty straightforward. We know we're a hair back of the concrete, you can see. So we're just going to follow this line all the way through. Okay, plus or minus, and we're just going to kind of come up from right here. So we're going to connect those two marks here and here, and run a piece of back. I just transferred our mark all the way up. Okay, so that represents basically if we were to add another post here, that would be in line with these posts. Talk to our homeowner. He wants our fence or our partition 50 inches off the top of concrete, so that when he's washing dishes and making stuff in the kitchen, he's not looking out and seeing the top of the trash cans. We came up from the concrete, which is what we talked about, 50 inches. I came down a little bit because we're going to add a top cord, 2x4 on top of this. So I came down to 48 inches. So I marked it and I leveled over and marked every single one of these posts. So got a mark there, got a mark there, and we have a mark on our big post on the very, very end. But I'm going to take my Bigfoot saw here, and this saw is great because it allows us to cut through in one pass. So it's a Bigfoot circular saw. I'm going to run through, cut these, and then we'll add our top cord on top of it. Cut off all of our intermittent posts. You can feel they're super duper strong. Not going anywhere. Concrete's set up. You couldn't move these if you wanted to now. Now we're gonna get our rip strip in here in order to attach our dog ear pickets to the big post. So in order to do so, I'm gonna measure to the very bottom, concrete plus or minus here. And in this case, I'm gonna go 48 and 7/8. Now, you can see at the bottom here, we've got they call this a post base, a piece of metal. In videos past, we've done how to remove and replace a structural patio post, in which case, we've had these post bases in the way. I'm gonna do the same application I did on that previous video. I'm gonna measure, I'm gonna cut, and then I'm gonna actually ream out the backside of the wood member that we're gonna install to bury this metal, okay? And the reason why I wanna do that, not just for looks, but we wanna make sure that we have backing and nailing all the way down to our sill down here. We're gonna put a bottom cord in here, and unless I have something to nail that bottom cord to, can't nail it to the metal obviously, we wanna make sure we have backing. Okay, so that's the reason behind doing that. So I took my measurement, we're gonna cut it and remount the back of it. Took some measurements over there in the field there, and I am going to now mark where the hardware is, and then I'm gonna ream it out, okay? So it's important that this sits flush, that this piece sits flush against the wood. Okay, so I measured up 3.5 in the field there to 9. So I want to ream out this section here, okay? And then I want to stay, if this is acting as the outside edge, which we're going to nail the dog ears to, so our post goes up against posts like this. This is where the metal's essentially going to go. This would be the outside facing the driveway. I want the center of our bolts is about 1.5 inches. All right. So I just want to mark that so I have an idea of where I'm going to ream out. In this case, I don't have a drill bit, so I'm going to use a circular saw. Be real careful when you do this, okay? Because this is a tricky applications. Now we'll just kind of dry fit it and see if we got enough. So we got the bolts out of the way. Now we just got to notch out for the metal so that it sits flush. So here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to rip down a little piece. I'll take this whole section out. I've got my piece. I'm going to secure it to the post. I notched out nice and tight around the hardware, okay? So all that mess is back there. You're never going to see it. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to spray that with our Flex Seal, okay? So that we don't have any problems in the future. This, even though it's treated, I just don't want to replace this in the future. So we're going to Flex Seal this, let it dry, fasten it to the post. So to fasten this to the post, we've got some extra long exterior deck screws. These work well. Making sure that I'm lined up on my mark. Good there. Same thing on the bottom. Make sure we're on our line. One more in the middle and we're good.
Sounds like you need a new battery.
All right, that one's, so now we've got our piece in. You guys can see how this is gonna work. Our next step in the process is to install what we call bottom cord members. So they're 2x4s, pressure treated, that go in between each post, all right? So bottom cord here, bottom cord there, bottom cord there. We install them, fasten them, okay? And then we add a top cord. All right, guys, so as we mentioned, we're gonna get our bottom cord measurement. We got 48.5. I'm gonna take all my measurements and cut them all at once, put them all at once. So, all right, everybody, so got our first bottom cord in. You can see it spans in between each post. I keep it up off the concrete about 3 inches or so. That way, if any debris or elements get stuck under there, it has a tendency to be able to move out and you can clean it out. So we don't need to go tight against the concrete. Dog ear pieces, the fence pieces are gonna go down, cover that gap. So I set my first side here. We're using 2.5-inch exterior rated finish screws that are self-drilling. When we put the screws in, they kind of work their way into the wood on their own, and then they finish nice and flush so there's no exposed head showing. So I set it about 3.5 inches out. You can see once you get it going, they're great. All right, same thing on the other side. These rocks feel great on my knees. If you didn't have screws, you can pick those up at your local home improvement store, but if you didn't have screws, you could use exterior rated nails. Those would work just fine. Screws are real easy because you can kind of work them in and out in case you need to change something, but yeah, anything will work. So as you can see, we've got our bottom cords fastened with our 2.5-inch exterior self-tapping finish screws. Now we're going to install our top cord. Okay, so the lumber that we got doesn't allow us to run one full piece, and so we're going to break it halfway on this post, which is a good exercise to show. We're going to flush it out on that end. This is called our top cord. We're going to flush our top cord out on the outside edge of the post there, and then we're going to fasten here. I'll take a skill saw or a circular saw and run through halfway once we're fastened, but this allows us to kind of create a break or a seam because our lumber's not long enough, okay? All right, so here, guys, now we're going to cut this off, right? Plus or minus right down the center post, okay? So we have equal support on both sides. So I'm going to put 2 screws, but I'm not going to put them on this side because obviously we're going to cut that off. And I'm not going to put them towards the middle because we don't want to get in the way of the saw. So I'm going to stay back and still allow us to fasten right here. All right, same thing. We don't want to get too close to the middle, but we want to make sure we have ample support. Now we'll just measure, mark this, and cut it with a circular saw. As you can see, we didn't cut the post at all. Last thing to do is measure and install this last piece. Here we've got our last piece in, guys. You can see it fits snug halfway on that post. Your seat, now you can see kind of why we installed that backing piece. So we have something to nail our frame member to. So basically, we'll fasten this now. All right, guys, so as you can see, we've started our installation of our pickets, okay? So what we are doing is what the homeowner requested. So it's a certain design, special design that we space out our fence pieces, and then we overlap a new piece on top of it, okay? So there'll be a piece that's equally spaced on top of it. So it's kind of gives the illusion of like a layered effect. What we're doing is we're keeping it up off the ground, 1/4 of an inch, thickness of a fence plank, okay? And we're fastening to our bottom cord and our top cord, all right? I cut a piece that's 2 inches thick as a guide, and so our guide just goes right inside. We hold our next piece to the guide, top and bottom, and we just run all the way down, do our back section pieces. We'll come back later and do the overlap. So we're just gonna work our way down. We started at the very front. We're just working our way all the way down to the end. So that's it. It's as simple as that. Okay. All right, so as you can see, guys, we got our first row of fence pieces in. To do that, we have a pneumatic siding gun. Great. You can see here that there's a lever that allows you to run coil nails into the hopper here and safely cover it and then fasten. So it's a really, really good gun for siding application like this. They're galvanized nails, so they're exterior rated. Put 2 in each gear. We're gonna overlap it with the new pieces, so it's a great application. The reason why I ran these long, guys, is because I'll show you towards the end of the video the application and the finish. We're going to install a top rail on top of it that's going to overlap onto these fence pieces for a nice finished look. So I ran these long. Once they're all in and everything's done, I'm going to snap a line and cut them off all at once. So we've got our overlap done. You can see our back row, our front row. We've gone all the way down. We had to run to the lumber store and grab a couple more pieces because inevitably we short counted. But while we're getting those materials, we're gonna go ahead and snap a line and cut off the top section and start working on our top cap to be efficient. Look at that one. That one's got a bind in it. This piece here is a bad piece. It's kind of a messy application. All right, guys, so as you can see here, we're working on finishing out and trimming out now. Working on getting those last few pieces. As soon as those come back from the lumber store, we'll install those. But in the meantime, how we're gonna finish this out, how our homeowner wants to finish it out, is we're gonna install a top cap that's gonna create a nice overlap, a nice reveal on the driveway side. Okay, trash can side, everything's gonna flush out, okay? But on this side, you can see it's a nice reveal. To finish out the outside edge here, I'm gonna add a piece of nice fencing, okay, that has that overlap and flushes out with our top, okay? So I'm gonna do that first, and then we'll work through and install our top cap, okay? And fasten. Got tons of backing because we got our big post in. Okay, now we're going to work on the final element to finish this out, guys. Okay, we've got a 1x6 cedar planking here. It's perfect for a nice reveal, so we're going to use this as our top cap. Okay, on our ends, okay, instead of butting them, we're going to put a 22.5 degree on them. So I'll cut this back on a 22.5 degree. Okay. And then our next piece will overlap on top of it, so it kind of creates a nice seam for it. So we'll work through. We've got some pieces over here. We're going to run a couple. When the pieces come back from the store, we'll install these, and then we should be all wrapped up. So I'm just flushing everything out with the back side of my top cord here. You can see. So on the next piece, I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm just gonna put a back cut on it, 22.5. We'll overlap these pieces so they're nice and clean, and then we'll continue on down our way. All right, guys, so as you can see, our fence is complete. Okay, so we are all wrapped up, everything's screwed and nailed off. We'll walk you through step by step again how we did this process. If you remember back in the beginning, we had to identify where we were gonna put our posts, okay? So we identified and located where we were gonna dig and excavate and put our new posts. We dug down, found a sprinkler line, determined, thankfully, that it wasn't active, got it out of the way, dug our posts, installed and cut our posts, mixed concrete, okay, rapid set concrete, set our posts, made sure they were plumb and ready to go. Came back through and installed our bottom cords, okay? Came back through and installed our top cord, and then we installed our decorative or finish picket fencing, okay? So all in all, great day. It's an easy, fun project to do and kind of create a nice separation of space. Anybody can really do it if you have the right tools and you want to take on the challenge. But thanks so much for tuning in. If you have any comments or questions, let us know. Otherwise, please like and subscribe, and catch you on the next one.